Most people think that Airsoft is some super dangerous game for psychopaths who only enjoy their eyeballs and teeth get shot off. Well, surprisingly, as it turned out, it's not quite the case. So the topic of this video is gonna be about the most braindead takes on Airsoft I've ever heard. So let's start with the most common one and also most braindead one, which is Airsoft is too dangerous. This take would make some sort of sense only if we wouldn't use protection. And no, I'm not talking about this protection, I'm talking about these kinds of protection. Number one thing every airsofter needs to use are goggles or some sort of eyesight protection. I personally use these Lancer tactical goggles for maxing out my eyesight protection on the field, and they basically cost around 25 to 30 bucks. Yes, these goggles are absolutely huge, and yes, they fog up. Unfortunately, fogging up of goggles or any sort of eye protection is one of the most annoying aspects of Airsoft, and it still spikes a lot of debates in the Airsoft community. Still, there is no 100% solution for this fogging up of the glasses, but what I found the most useful are these kind of yellow or orange-like goggles or eye protection, which basically serve you the purpose of not fogging up that much. Not using any eye protection in Airsoft is basically one-way ticket to blindness. Believe it or not, getting shot into the eyes is basically a really common thing in Airsoft, so it always comes in handy to have nice eyesight protection. I mean, getting shot by some BB isn't the most pleasant thing on this planet that you can experience, but still, it is not the end of the world. I got shot like thousands of times, and when I only remember that it actually hurt was when I actually got like 3 BBs like here, here and here, right to the forehead. Then when I actually got the BBs to the knuckles, or when I actually got it to the neck or teeth. Yeah, well, I also got a shot to the teeth, so yeah, or to the tooth. So yeah, that's also not the most pleasant thing, but still, you kind of shake it off, and yeah, you feel like nothing after 10 minutes. So no, Airsoft isn't dangerous at all if you use the right protection, and yes, it hurts a bit, but yeah, it's part of the game. The second most braindead opinion is basically the premise that Airsoft is the sport only for the fit and athletic people. I honestly don't get why people would think that. I mean, they probably saw some clip of guy just rushing, bending, crawling, shooting, just jumping on the trees and stuff like that, and think for themselves that this is how average match looks like, but the opposite is true. In my experience, Airsoft matches aren't physically exhausting, they are just a bit more static, where everyone is just paying attention and trying to be more careful. So no, you don't need to be some bodybuilder or some athletic jiu-jitsu guy who just carries the boats. Instead, you only need to, well, be capable of holding like 2 kilogram heavy gun on the battlefield for longer than like 1 hour. So if you start or thinking about starting with Airsoft, I might have actually the perfect beginner weapon for you, which is this CM16 Rider 2.0 by the G&G company, which I reviewed in one of my videos, so you can definitely check it out. Why I also recommend this gun to some beginners is basically due to its extreme light weight. I mean, I can just hold it with one hand, just do all of these exercises with it. So yeah, it is pretty light, and also it has semi full auto regime, semi and full auto regimes of firing. It basically has nice, decent stock inner components. Inner components for a stock gun, and yeah, many more things. So if you want to start with Airsoft but you don't quite know how or where to start, I will make a separate video in the future about that, but also now I only made or published on my YouTube channel video about this gun, so definitely go check it out. The third most demented take on Airsoft that we're gonna discuss in this video is basically that the Airsoft is the sport only for the rich people who want to invest like hundreds of dollars into this sport. So this opinion is simply untrue, just because of the fact the most people who start with Airsoft have their gear borrowed, which means they basically go on some Airsoft event, they just rent the gun, the gear, the goggles and stuff. They basically spend 2 or 3 hours playing with it, and then they basically make their own conclusion if the airsoft is for them or not, which in total might actually cost them like 50 bucks or 40 bucks, and also they gain some experience from that, and they have nice memory. So if you later come up with conclusion that you actually like airsoft and you want to invest in it more, then you basically need to prepare yourself 2, 3 or maybe 400 bucks. I mean, it's not really a cheap business, but still it's in comparison to skiing, for example, or skateboarding, snowboarding and stuff like that, biking, like professional biking and stuff. Yeah, well, I think that in comparison to these kinds of sports, the airsoft is pretty affordable. But to start, you firstly want to buy nice quality or high quality face protection and eye protection, then some good gun with good battery, and then a good charger, and then high quality BBs basically with nice magazine that's actually gonna fit to your gun and feed it goodly. So to actually be able to buy all of these things, you actually need to spend, I think, 50 bucks for the face / eye protection, then maybe 50 bucks on the gun or 200 bucks on the gun, depends on your style, and then basically I think around 20 bucks to some LiPo or an IMH smart charger. Also, if you wouldn't know, you don't actually need to have the 4 kilos heavy replica made out of full steel, real wood and stuff like that. For the start, what is actually a good thing, or what's gonna actually make the serve you the purpose of playing the airsoft, is actually some plastic gun, some higher quality plastic gun with some steel or metal components in it for 200 bucks. And then the last myth that I'm actually going to discuss in this video is basically airsoft isn't possible to play in winter, which is just a bollocks, and I believed it too for my few months when I actually my first few months when I actually started to dig more into the airsoft world. But yeah, now I obviously know it's not true. To be fair, this statement is partially true, at least, because you can't play with gas blowback or gas guns in general in freezing temperatures. So in the winter you mainly want to play with the EAGs, which is completely fine. Also, a good thing to know is that you actually can play with the gas blowback guns or gas guns even at like 10 to 15 degrees below zero. Just you need to swap the green gas with the red gas. However, obviously you can still play airsoft in winter. So that's all for this video, and definitely don't be shy to let me know about the other airsoft myths that you basically ran across.